Greetings. I am Dr. Schmoll. I'm the instructor for this History 231 course. It's really nice to meet you, especially in person like this. Really, I'm happy to meet you. Hopefully you've received an email from me about this course and are on the blog, watching the video, and getting started in the course. As you know by now, we have some weekly work to do, and I think that we can expect a really interesting and good quarter. So. As I said in one of the emails, it is slightly experimental, but I think it's good experiment, good science, right? Really nice to meet you. This is what will happen each week. You will have a video from me introducing the subject that we're talking about that week and talking about any goals or any other due dates or anything that we have going that week. But by all means, throughout the quarter, if you have any problems, email me. If you have any questions, email me. If you want to come in and meet me with me in the office, email me. Or just come into the office. I'm in here on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I would be more than happy to meet with you to talk with you about the course, about the major, or anything like that. So each week, just to give you a little idea of what will happen in the course, each week you'll have an introductory video, and you'll watch that. Like today's, it will be about 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 minutes. Then you'll have a 5-minute video related to the theme for the week. Then you'll complete a short reading. Then you will write a blog entry based on that reading and based on a question I give you. And then, number 5, as you can see right there, you will have a chance to respond to your classmates. So, excuse me. So let's say your classmate wrote something about an idea that we're discussing, and you fully disagree with it. You go online, you disagree respectfully. Your classmate can maybe disagree with that, or maybe not. But basically, it gives us a chance to do what we can't do face-to-face this quarter, so we will do online. We'll have some interaction and have some discussion. These are respectful interactions. It's not like a sort of comment section on a Yahoo page where someone is usually called Hitler or something like that. It is a respectful discussion that we'll have, and it's a positive atmosphere that we'll try to create with those comments. Nevertheless, you should certainly be taking issue and reading critically the comments of your classmates. So that's our weekly schedule. You do those things, those 5 things. They will appear each week on Sunday. You'll have week 1 video, or week 2 video, week 2 blog entry. And so you just go through and do that work each week, and you'll be keeping up with the course. In addition to that, I wanted to talk just briefly about the way that we think in history, and that the thinking in history, I think, has a bad name, and history itself, because it's been dumbed down and it's been textbooked down. I think that it is problematic in our world right now. People tend to think about history as what happened. Don't you? Do you? What's history? It's what happened. And it's unfortunate, because history is by no means what happened. It's much more akin to a foreign language. History really is a foreign language. It's understanding the way historians think and trying to understand the way others think, and it's our interpretation of what we think happened. It's our interpretation of the past and our critical analysis of that past that makes something history. It's not just the fact that it happened to have happened. If that were true, then we would simply study every moment and everything that happened, and we don't. We pick and choose based on what our values are, based on what the values of the past were. So I think that's important, that we get past that notion that history is simply what happened. In addition, the one idea that I wanted to leave you with for the week is of the Columbian Exchange. And you'll excuse my technological backwardness, but here is our fancy footwork for the week. So the Columbian Exchange is basically the process by which Europe and Africa and the Americas exchanged plants, animals, people, ideas, seeds, diseases. And as you can see from this, from this fancy page here. The Columbian Exchange involves a movement from Europe to the Americas of goods. Did you like that? Yeah. Of goods and of seeds, of plants, from the Americas going back to Europe, and from Europe going to the Americas. So it's that exchange. Now we used to think about that model differently. We used to think about this mostly in terms of disease is where this comes from. So we thought about these diseases moving from Europe to the Americas, things like smallpox and other diseases that would just ravage these tribes. But what we've started to do, though, and what this historian Alfred Crosby did in creating this idea of the Columbian Exchange, is he talks about this being a two-way street, that the process is really one of an exchange of for instance, the tomato. Have you thought about a tomato today? Okay, good. So the tomato, when Europeans first see it, they think that the thing's poisonous. And if you have a tomato there with you, cut it open. It looks poisonous. Well, Europeans cut this thing open and they see this sort of gooey mass and they think, I think it is poisonous. But then they realize it's not. It's pretty good and it's good for you. And the tomato then goes from the Americas back to Europe. Corn, chocolate, all sorts of other wonderful things go from the Americas to Europe. And then some diseases also do as well, like syphilis, unfortunately. Most of the disease movement goes from Europe to the Americas, but it's important to note that this is an exchange, that it's Europe and the Americas and Africa exchanging people and ideas and seeds and plants and all of that, more than just a one-way street. Colonization was not something that simply happened to the Americas. It was something that was a part of a process. And so this part of that process of the exchange we call the Columbian Exchange. I want you to look for that this week when you're hearing about Native America, when you're reading a little bit about these first colonies that are established. And basically as you go through your week, the goals for this week are basically that you start to think like an early American settler. What would they have experienced? What might they have seen? How would their worldview impact who they are and how they're experiencing the Americas in the 17th century. So I leave you with that for this week. I tell you, welcome to the class, bon voyage, buen viaje, all those wonderful things. It should be a good quarter, and if you have any questions, by all means, contact me, and otherwise, I look forward to seeing you online throughout the week, and maybe in my office. Come visit.